HIROAD is a very simplistic map in that you have one team on one side, one team on the other, and it's basically a mirror. You've got a bridge in the middle that separates everybody, but does allow for some more strategic play. And in the early days, there wasn't really much going on. You had a few buildings, the landscape was still fairly the same, the bridge was actually functional. I mean, you could walk through it, there was no, it was completely transparent, but it was and looked functional. But then as we progress later into the game's development and everything has been completely flipped on its head, design is different, aesthetic is different, character models are different, we see the HIROAD that we know of today. And there isn't really any further development from this, as when we reach beta and final release they're basically exactly the same. It's difficult to really pinpoint a theme with this map just because both teams have exactly the same assets, you know, the map is basically mirrored. Having said that though, the clue is pretty much in the name. When you think of a HIROAD, you think of the desert, you think of a canyon, you think of that horrible level from Crash Bandicoot that everyone friggin' hated. Yeah. So, as I always do, let's cross over to myself live in the future where I'm going to be doing a live commentary of this so you guys can take a look at it for yourself, and of course let me know your thoughts on it in the comments below. In the meantime, I'll catch you all later for the next one. Bye! So welcome everybody to HIROAD. As you can see from this final version that you can access on the emulator or PlayStation versions, as you can see it is pretty much unchanged since the beta. On both sides have at least one pillbox, one shelter and one medical tent, but the only difference being that my side has an additional tent, which to me are probably the most useless buildings in the entire game, but that's just my opinion. And of course the entire landscape, you're able to walk on basically anything, so I can position myself in funkier places. Team wise, I have my usual setup.
You crave my shot, no?
Of 2 gunners and then 1 of each class. That was a terrible shot. Ouch. So yeah, camera work and camera placement and all these kind of smaller, finer details that needed to be ironed out weren't really fixed on this unused map, just because I guess it was known from that point in its development that it wasn't going to be used. So certain things like this weird ass, it's not even a water feature, it's the water texture placed over rock, so you can see it's not even finished. And of course the water as well doesn't even have collision, so certain things aren't there. But I mean, we have an enemy of 5 gunners to fight, which is a bit more ambitious in its approach, because he landed on the tree. On certain maps that you can play on the emulator or on just the PlayStation version, the enemy types are a little bit different. So sometimes there'll be grunts, sometimes there'll be a mixture. It just depends on the map. I don't know why that is, maybe that's deliberate. But this bridge isn't finished either. the key part of it just isn't here at all. Simple. Meanwhile, the pig in the tree is skipping his turn. That was unexpected, I hadn't seen him do that. But the key thing I always note about this map is how pointlessly placed the pillboxes are. Oof, direct hit. I wasn't ready for that. Because you look at the pillboxes and they're positioned on either side of the map, like, yeah, okay, fair enough, but they're positioned so far away from each other that it just makes them obsolete. Their long range capabilities are pretty shoddy to say the least, so I don't know why that was the decision. Probably because it's just somewhere to put them, and you have this very simple design of one enemy on one side of the map, the other enemy on the other side, and that's why I think it would have worked better as a multiplayer map rather than a single player. But I'm going to take my sapper and deal a fair amount of damage, because that's going to knock the other pig off the side of the map. And it's going to damage his other pig so that he will lose his life on his next turn. Wise decision. Ooh, how's that gonna go? Not very well. Good times. If I can take this guy out, preferably not damaging myself in the process. That was a bit too short. The other thing as well is the use of a tent. Like, I've never understood the purpose of a tent because its health is very low. That was an awful shot. Good job on that one, I guess. But yeah, tents in general just don't really serve much of a purpose to the average player because they're just unnecessary. You're more likely to just use your turn. I guess if you've got no other like option and you have to hide for a single turn, they're very, very situational and don't really make that much sense. But yeah, that's just my opinion. Ouch. Yeah, that went okay. The other thing to note about this map as well is that its terrain and just the overall, I guess, height of the map doesn't quite make sense. You've got sides that are too low, sides that are way too high. I think that it's a cool concept because, you know, it's nice having two larger pieces of landmass with a river running through the middle of it. That's cool, but, and it's a big but, it doesn't really work as well. Because you're more likely to get knocked off the map. I mean, look at that smaller piece down there. Like, it's easily able to knock people off. That corner over there. There's just lots of areas that could go wrong for the player, and it doesn't feel as filled as it could be. But this is one of my more favourite... Ouch. One of my more favourite unused maps. Because it's just so... It's visually very appealing, I guess. But its heights just don't quite work for me. But I'd love to know your opinion. Do let me know in the comments as always. And I'm going to go kill the last dude. But overall, that is going to wrap everything up though. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and enjoyed this little showcase of HIROAD. If you enjoyed the video, let me know your thoughts as always. Have you played this map? If you don't know how to access these maps, then there is a tutorial for that I made not too long ago. It will be at the end of the video, so do check that out. And in the meantime, I will catch you guys later for the next one. Oh, look at them, the medals, they're so mini. It's adorable.